The whole idea, why I agree with Tay Kheng Soon invitation, because at least I can share my long-standing agitation. Because I believe agitation is always prerequisite to wisdom. When you see certain you're not agitating, meaning something wrong with you. So I believe at least in my own understanding, even your education, your belief must at least make you feel agitating or something. Hopefully something positive. Hopefully. Right, next. Which means for me, let me introduce this Kong. Accidentally, he have to be my collaborators. I met him, fantastic guy, Malaysian born, now based in Singapore, working with, can I mention your company? Okay, he was in Starbucks, he was in Seattle. Somehow I told him I went to the Pie Market, the first Starbucks shop in Seattle. And now he's managing the KFC global office from there. So very well experienced, first class brain from National University Malaysia, but now contributing to global world. So this morning, I don't have any slides, but last night, dinner made me feel so inferior. So I said, Kong, please help me. So this morning, the last an hour just now, we have a slide. So I want to give pleasant surprise to Tay Soon. I want to show him I'm a good student of his. Okay, next. This is basically my long-standing agitation when I was member of parliament in Balik Pulau. Why muafakat? For me, muafakat, of course, bulat air kerana beruntung, bulat kata kerana muafakat. What does it mean? How water can become rounded, coalesced when you go through bamboo or you go through pipe. But what happens after you go through the pipe? The water will become like it is. The pipe not even try to convert, to control, to change, to transform the water. So this, but where all this wisdom come from? This wisdom come from at least from Sumatera Barat. If you go there, muafakat, they call it mufakat. Or if I learn Arabic, they call it muafakoh. Then I find the Magnus Opus Ashatibi, the philosophy of law in Tunisia, where things are converged. The Asia, the Europe, where things are converged. You need new narrative. It's not cooperation, it's not collaboration, it's not consensus, the closest accord. But for me, muafakat is beyond. You can put everyone together with diverse difference, but they come together. So I believe it must be something special about the wisdom of whoever in this region will make this region become the most peaceful region in the world. Now we have about, last time 500, now reaching from 600 to 700 million population. But you'll be surprised, the poor are still in the pockets. The southern Thailand, that's why he went with Menchai. I have to go to another places, obscure places, in Mindanao, to help the poor. So this region is full of interesting people. While I'm talking now, I should not be here. I'm supposed to be in Aceh. How I can stand here when my friend having problem in Aceh? It's not a small problem, it's a real problem. It's about life and death. It's a serious problem. If your education cannot make you feel agitating about that, something wrong with you. For me, at least, the education must be able to talk to you about justice, about freedom, about respect, at least they're very new. Right. Why I bring this picture? This is my last education, 2007-2008, to create a university. You know who designed this? Tay Soon. So I said to him, in Balik Pulau, I dream Balik Pulau to be an education hub. There were 100 acres of land allocated by the state government. What I want to do, my dream is to create the regional leadership universities. But fair enough, I have to tell you, from what you want to do, how you're going to be implemented, I have to say, I'm not yet successful. But let's be honest, leadership is a real job. It's not just a theoretical textbook advice, it's a real job. So these are all my students. This Kwan A, he came, he was my chief minister. I call it Academy Rakyat. So what it's all about, I call it a British Council Kampung. I somehow from Kampung, somehow I managed to go all over places across the globe because of British Council. But I met British Council very much later to show how people in Balik Pulau, despite in island, half of the island, is a previous thinker here, Confucian, who went to World Bank, brought your Dutch economies, turned around the Pulau Belakang Mati, become Sentosa Island, built your Keppel, and even identified Goh Chok Tong to be the next Prime Minister. So that's why I said the other day when I was graciously sponsored by Singapore taxpayer money in 2019. I was the first cohort of senior Lee Kuan Yew, they call it fellow in public service. So I was there learning from all great people. I learned from Lee Song Guan, I learned from Tom Iko, I learned from Kishore. These are all special people. So they brought me the best of Singapore. They brought me to your board, brought me to your to learn. But then I realized I must come back here, find ways how the core competent of Malaysia and Singapore, at very minimum, collaborate, and create good story for the region and the world. Okay, next. Alright, this is our, not to say fail, not yet successful. So Kheng Soon somehow provoked me with the multiversity, not university. For him at that time, he said, university alone not enough, you is only one. Only about intellectualism. What about enterprising? What about developmental? There's so many other things there. As well, if I say correctly. So we go a step further. I even managed to secure an appointment for him to present the idea. Okay? He was chief minister, and after he was a finance minister. Now he's honorary member of parliament. This may be relatively when I was member of parliament 2008, 2013 in Malaysia. Next. Alright, this is where I want to share. Kheng Soon correctly said where the idea of Madani come from. Okay, I want to put in context. Yes, the idea of Madani, at least from my research, pointed by Al-Farabi, or in English you will refer to Al-Farabus, something like that. So, between 9 to 10 centuries, he created a magnum opus called Madinatul Al-Fadilah in Arabic. Basically, it means some people, you can Google, some people call perfect state, some people call virtuous state, some people call ideal state. Why Al-Farabi matters? Because in the realm of philosophy, he's known as a second teacher. After Aristotle, he's curious guy. That's why to say he's Arabic, he's even was born in Kazakhstan. He died in Persia. The word music was created by him. Like today, we are talking about algorithm. It was created by Al-Khawarizmi. So how on earth you talk about algorithm without mentioning Al-Khawarizmi? So these are the things. It's not about whether it's Islamic, whether it's Arabic, when something due to be recognized as a real invention. We respect it as an intellectual finding. Alright, why I mentioned this, everything started, but then in 1994, maybe many of you well aware about Samuel Huntington. I assume the Clash of Civilization. Okay, I happened to learn from his disciple Francis Fukuyama when I was in Palo Alto. Now Fukuyama has a different view about class civilization. He changed his view after so many years. Why is important? In 1994, when Huntington wrote an essay, not yet a book, an essay. Close friend of Anwar Ibrahim by the name of Professor Osman Bakar. You can Google him. He's a mathematician. Now he's a philosopher. Now just been promoted as rector of International Islamic University. Was at Harvard. From his point of view, this essay is going to be very powerful essay as early as 1994. So he ring up Anwar was a deputy prime minister at the time. Let's address this, because if we were to agree with his thesis, it's going to be a serious problem. Clash of civilization. The major civilization, you are talking about the Muslim, the Chinese, the Indian, is going to be clashing. That's bad for the world. So at that time, with a bunch of people back in Kuala Lumpur believe, no, we must debunk this idea. So what did they do? They set up this Civilization Center Dialogue at Malaya University. And why I purposely took this picture, because I want to prove to you. They brought, can you imagine 1994, 95, they brought Samuel Huntington, they brought Professor Tu Wing Meng, experts of Confucianism at Harvard, now in the Advanced Humanities Center at Peking University at Educator. And of course William Chitting as well, of course Osman Bakar, and Anwar at that time, when Kheng Soon was talking about New Asia, he already talked about it at that time. Okay, where is the education, another education come from? As Kheng Soon put correctly, because the problem of certain civilization, those who win the mainstream space are the extremists. are the bigots. So the moderates, whoever have a more inclusive idea must win the space. So at that particular time, of course, they started to understand, let's understand each other first. So they started with Islam and Confucianism dialogue. Initially, I also at the time was still in campus. I was in my second year. Can you imagine what I understand this? But now, being a member of parliament, being a senator now, indirectly advising the foreign affairs of Malaysia, I understand. This is serious stuff. So when I go a step further in the name of geopolitical understanding, when I see what is Islam, which Muslim, at least it represents 2 billion population of the world, at least China, what is China? At least another 2 billion plus. The total population of the world, at least 7 to 8 billion. So if you be able to make these two sectors understand each other very well, to really understand each other very well, I mean, they know there's so many great stuff that they call it, is it Confucius is what dialect? Analect. So can you imagine what will happen to the world if these two civilizations understand? You're talking about the total effect of the understanding, you cover almost half of the global population. It's highly strategic at that time. That's why when Anwar was at Singapore with Xi Jinping, he cited the effort that Anwar did in 1994. So in 1995, in between, he was talking about how the Madani was embraced by Indonesian. That's why you go to Indonesia, they are talking about masyarakat Madani. Masyarakat Madani, if you simply literally translate, because civil society. But if you just literally translate, you thought civil society means vis-a-vis the NGO. No, it's not. It's beyond that. You're talking about a society with rich of culture, strong role of religion, tradition. Is not just vis-a-vis NGO, vis-a-vis civil society. No. So that's why you see the flourishing of Muhammadiyah with a 70 million population. They have how many? They have at least from my records, they have more than 170 universities. They have more than 120 hospitals. And during the COVID recently, they do more charitable assistance than the state. So the very idea of the Victian, where state is everything, the idea of nation state can do more public goods to the people, maybe debunked because of this. You see something that's happening. But post-COVID, suddenly you realize, between civil society and state, which one you trust to do more assistance for the people? Certain part civil society, but certain part civil society cannot even know how to organize themselves. They also have their own politics because they don't have the force of law. You see? But now you realize in Singapore there are so many jobs for what? Government affairs, public policy. Everyone wants to do business with government. So if you build effective government to a certain extent, they can deliver better public goods. That's the discourse. Okay. Now, hence, Anwar Ibrahim 2.0. Out of sudden, 2 weeks before election, not many leaders will announce their policy before you win. I don't know. He's so courageous. But I didn't contest, so I say he's courageous. I contest also, I disagree with him. Don't do that. Make sure you win first. So he announced his vision called Madani Nation, not Madani Society. Madani Nation. So to understand it, you just remember the word script. SCRIPT. S stands for sustainability. But of course, I was telling Kong, this is not ESG. It's beyond ESG. It's not only about correcting the nature. It's also about correcting man and nature. Sometimes the problems come from the man. So that's why when I translate the word sustainability into Malay, the typical Malay will use the word lestari. Of course, it's something foreign. I just take it as today as like sharing a Malay language session lah, sharing with you. But Anwar didn't use the word lestari. He used the word mapan. Mapan is about what? It's about the man as well. A balanced, moderate man. Because certain problem is about the overconsumption. That's why Kheng Soon was telling me democracy of consumption, democracy of production. I use that in Malaysian Parliament because of you. Alright. Next, when all these things happen, okay. I was telling my group just now. Because just now we just, where are we? Of course, one, react to your presentation. One, of course, say, sharing her experience. It depends on their training. Those who close to you from architecture training, give from the architecture as well. But I said, I share with them. I said to them, in 1947, what happened in this part of the world, the society was asked what kind of university we should have in Malaya at that time. So at that time, the British set up a committee called Carl Saunders Committee. Betul tak? I'm 1947. So what was the finding of that committee? Of course, you see the emergence of University Malaya, Malaya University. Of course, at that particular time, there's one guy by the name of Ahmad Ibrahim. Is anyone familiar with him? He's not the trade unionist. He's your first Attorney General who went to Raffles, get the top students, who went to St. John's College, become double first class in economy, come back, become the first Attorney General. Yeah. The first Malay Queen scholars, his father was a top doctor, his clinic called Sehat Clinic. You know where I got was sick? But yesterday, I came earlier, I went to your NLB. Apart from my getting excited about your albatross, I also study this. So, no, I had to learn. So I appreciate that history, but I come here to build bigger bridge. Okay, albatross tell you how they say the separation was actually, something, but Yusmadi come today, I want to build bigger bridge, which I believe Singaporean, especially the core competence with a good heart, must be able to collaborate with a good heart, the core competence of Malaysia, that showcase to the world that this corner of the world, there are people going to create another better, great story for the world. Alright. This guy, why I highlight this guy? So he was asked, because he's one of the smartest guys at that time. And at that time, the best part, Tan, sorry I mentioned you because I know you, I don't know many of you. You know Tan, he was your counselor, meaning he's from within. He's also your legislator at the time. So he's from within, he's not outsiders. What happened? He come up with his own critics. So what did he mention? But the primary criticisms of the reports lies in its tendency to view the university primarily from the perspective of colonial administrative and economic needs. That's why in our discussion, some people see for economics, employability. Now in Malaysia, we are talking about whether UEC to be recognized or not. Some say let learn Mandarin. It's all economics. But at the same time, we say, look here, the Carl Saunders Committee focused largely on how the university could supply trained manpower for government service and certain sectors without adequately examining the university role developing intellectual life, culture, and the character of Malayan society. So it's not only, that's what he's reading. He said the report is only about from the economic. So one thing I learned from Kheng Soon as well, he said eco, not necessarily ecological. Some people eco mean economics. So right, so some people eco mean economics. So right, so he wrote, unfortunately, this way another, I want to debunk this parochialism. Some of my friends, when they see Jawi, Jawi cannot, this is Islamic. Jawi is actually a Malay language. That's why LKY speak a very fluent language. Alright, I'm finishing. So he wrote this book called University di Malaya. Right? Unfortunately, more than 60 pages in Jawi. Well, good news to my Singaporean new friends. I managed to transliterate it to English and also to the Rumi form. And it's going to be published by this January. So I'm going to publish these 2 books. Before he wrote this book, he wrote another book called Melalui Dua Simpang, meaning we are the crossroad. Because he said that I'm Western trained, I came back from St. John, I'm the best student, but yet I don't trust all what Western said to me. You must be able to couch your own idea of education, idea of culture. Then what he wrote, this book Melalui Dua Simpang, of course, can be translated as at the crossroad. No? Alright, next. This is good news. Actually, I want to surprise Kheng Soon. Well, Kheng Soon tried to convince me, Yusmadi, not Penang, you work with your Balik Pulau. I said, oh, then so in Balik Pulau. I said, Balik Pulau, I got 100 acres of land, let's do it. Suddenly, yesterday, I was at NLP, I found this. Actually, Carl Saunders Commission proposed that the university be moved to Johor Bahru. And the first Malayan university, the commission plus minus blah blah. The best part, the last part, it's not here. Can you see the down part of it? Of course, there was one line here. Actually, said, why Johor Bahru? Can you get the last line? No, you cannot get the last line. No. Oh, okay. Okay. Why? Of course, among others, he said that. Why in Johor Bahru? Because from his point of view, from the community point of view, it must reflect the character of the Malayan. But when I say here, not when you're Singapore, it's not characterized. Like this incomplete. It said to be complete, go there. They even say, where it's supposed to be. It has to be next to the river, and then Bukit Seri, so that it's truly a Malayan university.
You have 5 minutes.
All right.
left.
Now I'm going. All right. So I'm finishing. Next, last slide was this. Where is the last slide? The last slide, of course. Now somehow, one guy, I happened to be working with him for the last 25 years. I was his lawyer in prison. I was his student, the only person sitting in his class at Georgetown, at Oxford. Espoused again, lad. When someone asked him, Prime Minister, what is the Johor Singapore economic zone about? He says one thing which impressed me. You know what he said? I want to prove to the world that the one corner of Asia where these two countries, Singapore and Malaysia of course, will collaborate and create a good, great, respected, credible story to the world. So I think with your contribution, of course with the action that Kheng Soon has, all my new friend Chong An, now Kong, and then now Stella, I think let's take this opportunity. As I like your introduction, this unprecedented time, with all the trajectory geopolitical, the right is not delivering, the left is not delivering, the word democracy also have to work harder to deliver. Let's discuss and be more ambitious. Because why? The guy who actually even have courage to critique the Sonder report is your own Singapore born, not even my friend from Penang. So I believe and trust another Singapore born to create another ambitious story. What is a good education so that we can create better friends, better understanding, address the global challenges again, and make sure again, live in harmony again, and maintain this region to be the most peaceful region in the world. No one in the world can speak about, have a courage to speak about peace except those from this region. That's why the problem of Thailand and Cambodia, we have to think seriously before it go beyond control. So don't underestimate, So I believe this session is very good. Thank you, Kheng Soon, for inviting me. Thank you, Stella, for the opportunity. Thank you, whoever the timekeeper. Hope learn a lot from you all. Thank you very much.